nutty. But I want to get through a couple of things that popped up here that broke as of today. One story that I know a lot of us have been following has been the story of Jonathan Majors here, aka Kang the Conqueror. Well, no more. One, shout out to one checking in on TikTok. What's up, bro? So here's kind of where this is all at. If you haven't seen the latest on this, which is so crazy, but a New York jury's found Jonathan Majors guilty of assault in the 3rd degree and guilty of harassment. Now, this has been lingering on for some time now. The story broke months ago when the accusation was made that he assaulted his girlfriend, who's a white woman. And the internet was kind of like, what? Like, how could Jonathan Majors, mind you, Jonathan Majors, up to this point, before the charges were made, this guy could do no wrong. He was a Hollywood star, right? I mean, he was what? He was rated like most sexiest man alive. He was doing all these movies. He got the role with Marvel. Everyone's very excited to see him play Kang the Conqueror. And honestly, Marvel was building the entire next couple of phases of the MCU around Kang and him, honestly. And that has been to their detriment because, I mean, we could talk about this separately, but Marvel is in a terrible place right now. I don't know how many of you guys are Marvel fans like I am, but man, has it been terrible. After the Infinity Saga ended, they've just been kind of just throwing stuff at shooting darts at the wall, trying to see what sticks. I could dive into that another day, but this is a major blow to Marvel as well. Let's take a look here at what's going on here. Marvel obviously has now reportedly dropped Jonathan Majors officially. Up to this point, they've been pretty quiet on what they were going to do with Jonathan Majors as Kang. But now that the verdict has been rendered down, they've rolled it out and, have went ahead and fired him from this whole thing. There's a lot of things that are very interesting about this case that we're going to take a look at from Megan Cuniff. She kind of blew up on social media after covering the Tory Lanez Megan Thee Stallion case in LA. And she's really thorough, man. She's got some great content. I definitely recommend you guys following her YouTube channel at Megan Cuniff. And if you're into a lot of these court things, which we cover and we talk about and we'll react to on our live streams here. But there was a series during the trial of text messages and surveillance videos that were released showing Jonathan Majors running away from her, she chasing after him. There was part of the video showed him like grabbing her, pulling out of the car, trying to remove her out of the car and all of that. And this is where, even for me, I'm really confused at how they rendered this verdict here. Based off what we saw, of course, we weren't privy to everything in there, but let's see what Megan has on this. And I'm really curious to see what you guys think about the situation here, because a lot of what social media is now running with, the narrative now, is that, oh, look, we're surprised. We're so surprised that a black man got convicted of this because it was a petite white girl. And I generally never try to run to the race card off the rip, but goddamn, I'm not gonna lie. In this particular situation now, it's hard to be like, damn, really? Like, so, removing her from the car constituted assault. So let's take a look at the video. I want to see what you guys think about this as well.
What's up?
Vince, thank you for
here to bring you the news
gifts
on the Jonathan Majors conviction. Sorry for being a little late. I got to say it's West Coast time. I'm on California time, and I kind of woke up to the jury going in and the stuff about the questions, and I'm getting ready, and the lunch break. I wanted to go out, but I wanted to get settled here, get something to eat, and talk to you guys a little bit. I was a little surprised that they came back so fast after lunch. I mean, I figured, with that question that they had earlier this morning, it maybe would be a little bit longer, but I did think the question looked like the kind of question that shows like they could be getting somewhere. They were trying to compromise, and they needed like one final thing here in the. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I know this was such a big case. I wish, as I said in the last chat, I wish I'd gone over there to cover the trial, because I mean, it got so much coverage from all rounds, but there wasn't really like detailed coverage of the testimony from like a straightforward point of view. Yeah, I kind of, somebody just asked what was the question. I'm like, yeah, I should have gotten that up before I just brought it up, but I'll bring all that up in a second. They wanted to rehear, they got a read back of the testimony of Chloe Zoller, who is the woman that Grace met out on the street. We've seen the surveillance video of her talking to.
So yeah, this is part of the video where it showed the girlfriend, I don't even know her name, was talking to some random people she met there, and they were trying to like assist her.
3 people out on the street, and then she goes to the nightclub with them. And the jury wanted to hear Chloe's testimony read back by the court reporter, and with a focus on the icing of the finger that Grace apparently did at the nightclub. So that was indicating that, you know, they were looking at the finger injury and the timing of it, because the defense on the finger injury is that she caused this herself when she was alone, you know, distraught over the breakup, and when she was found in the closet, that this was like a self-injury. But the jury verdict indicates that it's not the finger injury that he was convicted of, because the finger injury occurred in the SUV and was part of the assault charge for, well, I'll bring everything up, but it looks like the assault charge he was convicted of was for putting her back in the car, the recklessly causing injury, whereas the other assault charge was like intent to cause injury, and he was found not guilty of that.
So he was found not guilty of intentionally trying to assault, but they clapped him on unintentionally injuring her when he tried to put her back in the car. What in the fuck? Am I the only one that's like this kind of crazy sounding? When he was trying to remove her out of the car, mind you, he's trying to remove her because she's going off, trying to remove her from the situation here. So he, you know, like you're damned if you do, you can't, damned if you don't, man. Mind you, this is also New York, where it's super, super liberal. And, you know, he could have like chipped her nail and they probably would have still clapped him on that, because they're just hyper liberal with their laws and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So it's a total split verdict, but in the end, it kind of like,
Riga said, I'm curious what Megan Good is going to do. She's been by his side all this time. At this point, she can't leave. Like, she jumped in and was there during it. How you going to leave now? Like, it looks crazy.
The history books are just going to remember the 2 guilty convictions. You know, I mean, it was a split verdict with Harvey Weinstein in New York City too, on sex assault charges. He was acquitted of some stuff, or I mean, he was only convicted of a few charges. And same in California, he was actually acquitted of one of the charges. But it's everybody remembers the guilty verdicts. But let me see if I can.
Yeah, trying to de-escalate the situation, trying to remove her from it, and you know, when you try to do the right thing, they still, you know, you're still wrong. You know, my thing is like, if you purposely were trying to do something that's completely different, then I'm trying to remove you from this situation, and okay, because you're holding onto the door, yeah, I'm trying to get you out of here, but then it causes injury. Like, well, is it really my fault? Like, this is what I kind of hate about this stuff right here.
Kind of go back through how the morning went. Hopefully you guys have seen the YouTube channel playlist that
Becky,
I set up with all the evidence. To be clear, and I need to go back and edit the police cam video descriptions just to make this clear, but there's no audio with it. The police cam videos were intentionally shown to the jury without audio. I've had some comments from people being like, oh, hey, do you know, just FYI, these were uploaded without audio. But the stuff that I got from the DA's office was like that. I guess it was subject of a lot of litigation before trial, what exactly with the videos would be shown. And it was, the judge decided that they wouldn't show the actual the audio of it. And
that's awfully interesting to me, why you wouldn't want to have the audio there. I don't know if she's going to mention this. Who exactly fought for this? Was that the prosecution didn't want the audio, or if it was the defense? If it was the prosecution, I'd be livid, because if I'm the defense, I'm feeling like there's something in there that might justify, you know, my actions or justify my claims. If it's the defense, then the only thing I can think of is that he may have said something in there that may have not looked good. So let's see if we know why there was no audio with the body cams.
I don't know who, I mean, I'm not sure what exactly the arguments were on that, but I can't imagine that Major's attorneys wanted all of that in there. I mean, you have to imagine that just when the cops were responding to the calls, they were talking back and forth and things like that. And he obviously talks a lot to the prosecutors, or not the prosecutors, but the cops in the dash cam video that we see. So, I mean, I just can't imagine that they wanted that in there, but maybe it was the prosecutors too, who didn't want certain parts of it in, but
yeah, okay, now that she says that, it leads me to believe that this was all the defense didn't want that to come out there. But then at the same time, it's interesting, you know, you would think that the prosecution would fight very hard to have the audio in there if it's going to make them look bad.
You know, being in California and not having the benefit of being in court. And then also I've been looking around online to see how available the documents are, and they're not very available, but I imagine there were motions filed over the audio on the body cam. But this isn't the body cam, this is the surveillance videos. It's a collection of surveillance videos that kind of traces their, not kind of, it does trace their
movements,
actions
okay,
throughout the night.
So
but
let's take a look at this, because this is going to paint a picture just objectively of like what's happening, the mood, the movements, the actions.
Let me get right to the let me pull up my Twitter.
Because he was trying to explain what had happened and didn't want him to win. You know what I'm saying? Miso, what's up? Becky, good to see you. How are you?
Twitter thread, so we can.
It's a biased world, man. Robo, you know.
I shared that this morning, and I'm kind of guilty of cutting it up, but I did the 8-minute cutout from the 33-minute video that shows the SUV altercation, and that right there, what we're seeing here, that's the assault charge he was convicted of. That's the recklessly causing injury, whereas the first assault charge, like that's intent to cause injury, was not captured on film. It's what happened before this, with her finger being injured when she saw the text message, was trying to get his phone. So he was found not guilty of that, but the guilty for assault is for putting her back in the car. And
for putting her back in the car, you catch a case? My fucking God. We live in a world today, y'all. Because after this, he runs away. So seemingly it looks to me like he put her back in there so he could run the fuck off, because she was just gonna follow him.
Apparently the harassment charge, which is not a misdemeanor, it was a violation, which is less than a misdemeanor, is related to this too. And when you pull up the charging document from the DA's office, there isn't it doesn't say, and this charge is for this incident. I mean, I'm sure they went over that all in trial, but unfortunately there's not like
there he is running away. It says a lot for a man to run away from a woman. Like, this is the clip that went viral on Twitter. Everyone's like, yo, wait, what do you mean? If he was so abusive, she's running after him.
And just screenshot that shows like what exactly were the charges for. But my understanding, and just when you look at the charge, the intent versus
right, look at this
assault, the reckless assault that he was.
Oh no, I'm the victim. Come back. Come back. What? I mean, can we all look at this objectively and look at it and be like, that is not a victim behavior, man. And I hate that there will be some people that will come out and come with some thing about some Freudian, because an abuser connects and then they don't know. Like, man, like, miss me with all that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I hate that shit because it's not logical, man. It just doesn't make sense. If you're claiming to be the one abused, that you are gonna run after your abuser is ludicrous, bro. It's ludicrous. What's up, Rem? Young, what's up? Hey, what's up from Placerville, California? What's up, Dustin? Welcome, bro.
Car movement.
Look at this.
But and it's handy how they identify the surveillance cameras, but you got to remember that the prosecutor, I think when this is being played for the jury, I mean, the jury has the benefit of the prosuprosecutor.
Look at my man. Yo, by the way, Jonathan Majors got a wonderful stride. Just look at him, just like a gazelle, bro. Just gallantly, just zooming by. And here she is. Like Jonathan, no, come back.
What's going on?
Jonathan.
This is afterwards.
Jonathan.
So much about this online. The
look,
chase.
Look at this.
the chase afterward. But
This is crazy.
one thing I'm kind of dealing with is I wonder if any of the jurors are going to talk.
By the way, she almost gets hit by a car right here. Watch this.
Some of them, especially in a high-profile case like this, they want to get TV interviews and stuff like that. But we don't hear a lot from jurors or have like real analysis of what goes on in the jury room, because that's supposed to be sacred. But as
I don't. Here's the thing. I don't think that any of those jurors are going to come out and talk. I'm willing to bet that the jury makeup probably was prominently not people of color, first of all, and the vitriol they're going to get, because the talking point right now on social media is, here you are. Of course a black man gets found guilty because it's a white woman involved in this. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what the sentiment is on social media right now. After everyone saw this video of him running away, there were text messages that were entered into evidence in the trial that painted a very different picture. The
legal report.
I think honestly that they were both doing toxic shit to each other. Let's keep it a buck. Most times there's a lot of both sides are doing shit to each other, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental games that they're playing with each other to lead up to this stuff. You know what I mean? It's never, I'm not saying it's never, but I think it's rare that it's just all one-sided and someone just doing everything. You just have two people, because the reality is that when you're in love, it makes you do dumb shit. Love will make you come out of your body. My mother, who's a retired detective, always said the worst crime scenes that she has ever worked were the ones that were crimes of passion, meaning husband-wife, lovers, or love triangles. She said those were the most heinous crimes because love was involved, and people it pour it out, and it turns into some evil shit, versus gang crime scenes or mafia, whatever, cartel stuff, where they're pretty clean hits, like pop, 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 done, right? Where compared to knives, dismemberment, like wild stuff you see in like the movies and CSI and all that stuff.
I'd be really interested to know what they do, but I gotta say, I get a little worried when
Robo said, "Clap needs two hands." That's actually pretty good saying right there. What's up, Rem? 305 in the building. This video is a depiction of me running away from my adult responsibilities. Facts. Yeah, this trial was only about that day yet. Exactly.
I go online and I see people in all caps typing, this is bullshit. The jury's stupid. Whatever, the jury's corrupt. Blah, blah. I'm like, if you were on the jury after this and you saw that kind of rhetoric, would you raise your hand and be like, oh yeah, and my name is so-and-so, I work here.
Exactly.
And like talk about your point of view? No,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because they found him guilty, I don't think any of those jurors come forward and say anything, because they're going to catch internet hell. And furthermore, again, I doubt many of them on that jury were people of color. And it's just going to look bad optically that you had a predominantly non-person of color jury convict a black man because it's a white woman victim. It's just the times that we live in, if we're being very honest about the optics of it all. I'm not necessarily saying that's the case, but optically that's how it appears to people. And the truth is, a lot of people out here don't have the logical sense to analyze things in a deep level without just seeing things very superficial and just being like, and just seeing the colors, seeing who's involved, and just coming up with their biased opinion on it.
I'm just worried that we'll never hear from the jurors because of that kind of, the jurors
are
corrupt and must have been paid off.
King, what's up?
Kind of talk. But who knows? Hopefully they will talk. But that video that we saw, the SUV video in the very beginning, they wanted to see that on Thursday. The jury got the case like Thursday afternoon. They had closing arguments, and then they
here's what's wild to me, man. He grabs her and puts her back in the car, right? They might take me out for what I'm about to say, but in the grand scheme of things, bro, like, is that, would you guys take that as an assault? If a man grabs you to put your ass back in the car, he's trying to get away from you. Like, even looking at it, It's not like he just grabbed her and threw her. He picked her up and like lifted her into that car. I don't see it. I'm gonna be honest. I don't see like that. You know, I see assault and I'm thinking, hey, he's taking the fist, he's dragging her by the hair, he's doing something like extremely violent. But picking her up to move her over to a spot to keep her ass in there so that he can like get away, I just don't think that that honestly constitutes an assault. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Green said hell no, he's trying to help them both. To me, in the context of what happens afterwards, him running away, it very much seems to me, if I'm a juror, I'm looking at it like, well, wait a minute. He's trying to get away from her. She won't. Guys, I've been in a situation where women won't let you breathe. You're like, yo, I'm done talking about this. I need my space. They don't respect it. What do they do? Why? They get in your face, bro. It's a fucked up tactic because then some men will get to a breaking point and then they lash out. And here's what you get caught up, fellas. And that's why you gotta be cool, man. If a woman gets you to that point, you get the fuck out quick. Run. Do a Jonathan Major, just run. Because they will get in your face and get to a point to get under your skin to where you snap, bro. And if you don't have it in you to restrain yourself, I don't condone this, obviously, but there are men that will snap and then resort to violence. And that's very unfortunate. And then they get busted and they're all in the wrong. She's on the witness stand with a black eye. You know, I'm the victim. And it never is brought up about all the things that she was doing, the verbal assault, the verbal, emotional stuff that she was putting you that got you to a point that you lost it. That's just the reality of it. It's a really a fucking shame that shit like this happens. But if I'm a juror, how I interpret this, he placed her back in the car. I didn't see him yank her around. I didn't see her like throw her in a crazy way. He picked her up. He's a bigger guy, puts her ass back in the car, and then he's trying to keep her in there so he can get the fuck out. She's clearly grabbing on him.
And then
right? Look, she's hopping right back out. She's grabbing on his arm. Like, these are the little things that I see. How did the jury not see this?
Which just kind of indicates they're making progress. Like sometimes it's like, oh, they're at.
Well, you see how that turned out. We still lose at the end. Yeah. I mean, this is where, guys, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You know what I'm saying? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. The best advice I can give any man, if your girl starts going crazy on you, don't even say nothing, bro. Leave. Run out the door. Like, just remove yourself from that situation. I would even go so far as to say, hit record on your phone so you can capture audio so that there's never question about what was said or whatever. You got some kind of trail. You have to protect. It's sad. It's sad that we have gotten into a point in society where everything is, in dating now, it's either transactional. What are you going to do for me? You know, or it's about who captures enough evidence to make the other one look bad when the split happens, or if this goes to a trial or something like that. Because now everyone's secretly recording stuff, and it's crazy, bro. It's really crazy time. Alex, what's up? Watching from India. Appreciate that, bro. First time on the stream you speak facts, bro. Appreciate that, Jacob. Thank you, brother. No limit. What's up, bro? He said I'm a sea slapper. Shut up, bro. Don't say that.
Asking questions they don't agree, but like sometimes it just indicates they're trying to work through things. That's what happened in the Tory Lanez case. They asked some pretty fundamental questions early on, but so they asked the questions Thursday afternoon to see the SUV video, and they wanted to get the judge to read a full reading of the charges. So my understanding is when they came back in Friday afternoon, that's when the judge read the final charges for them. And I think that's when they resaw the video too. So they only deliberated for like maybe 3 hours on Friday afternoon. So a lot of people were like, gosh, this is just stretching on for multiple days. But I'm like, really?
Hold on. Honey, what'd you say? I missed that on chat. Can you run that back, please? I'm in a DV situation, 9-10. The mail's going to, yeah, guys. The reality is, guys, you just got to know, you by and large, men by and large, don't have any kind of advantages in those situations. You really don't. You know, he removed himself and she followed him. She should be charged for harassment. You know, it's curious here. I thought they brought charges on her, but I think the PD dropped it on. So I don't know what's going on here. And nowadays you have to be careful if you or her hit record first. I know what you're saying there, honey. I think Yeah, it depends on the state. Certain states are one-party states, other states are two-party states on what's recorded. However, I'm not a lawyer, but I think that if you happen to record a situation where you're being assaulted, it doesn't even matter because that's still a crime that you're recording. You know what I'm saying? Versus if you just record a phone call to try and catch somebody up on something, I think that's very different. If you happen to turn on the face cam as you're getting pounded on, I think the law makes exceptions for that. And I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong. But I think, you know, I was saying, you see how they are all about protecting women now. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing though, even before we got into the climate where it's, leans very, I've said this, we're seeing, you know, as much as people say about the patriarchy, let's be honest, folks. The matriarchy is now, it's shifted. Women are starting to really run shit and put themselves in key positions and stuff like that. And certainly the law has always been in their favor long before this change in you know, pushing feminism and all that stuff. Which by and large, I don't have a problem with feminism, with the basic concept of allowing women the opportunity and the rights to do things. I think that's fucking great. You know what I'm saying? I think it's great that they have an opportunity to vote, work, have a career. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? My issue with it is like the third wave feminism, or whatever. I don't know if there's a fourth wave feminism now. My problem is why is it, while you are trying to uplift women, why do they got to shit on men on the process? Like, that's kind of fucked up. It's all good that you want to expand and have these opportunities and do all these kinds of things, but like, why is it coming at the expense of men? Why is it like we're stepping on you on our way up? Like, that's crazy. You know, it's so hyper competitive when it doesn't need to be. It's, you know what I'm saying? I think most men are cool with women having these opportunities. And if you are a girl dad like myself, I wouldn't want my daughter to live in a world where it's like the Stone Age. Of course I want her to, you know what I'm saying? Like right now we're talking about like future in college and all stuff. She really wants to pursue physics. Bro, you know how fucking ecstatic I am that she says she wants to go major in physics, bro? I'm fucking like, holy shit. I done did something right that she's thinking of that and not something else. You know what I'm saying? That would be more of like something I may not be so happy about. So she has the opportunity. I just think it's crazy that again, in the process of this all, and I speak very generally here, that the feminist movement tends to shit on men in the process. It's like, yo, this is not necessary. You know what I'm
saying? They've only been deliberating like maybe 5 hours tops when they got in this morning. And here, I'm going to pause this video.
Monica,
we'll
go
back to it here and go down. But pretty early on, I saw that they had a question. This is me tweeting my stuff. This is Josh.
By the way, she's excellent on Twitter, y'all. Definitely, again, recommend following Megan Cuniff. She's just covering a lot of, she's really made a name for herself covering these pop culture stories and stuff. She does such a phenomenal job. Highly recommend you guys follow her on YouTube and on her Twitter or X account.
From Courthouse News Service. No verdict, but 2 notes from the jury. One requesting a reread of the charge number 4, and that's the harassment violation that they did end up convicting on. And then requesting the raw video footage of car 1, which I think is the footage that we just saw. Yeah. And then requesting Chloe's testimony of the group's arrival to the club, including description of Jabari icing her finger. So, I mean, you can never really tell with the questions, but I'm like, that doesn't seem like the best question for the defense. But based on the verdict, what happened was some probably wanted to convict on all charges and some probably wanted to acquit on all charges. Maybe, I mean, we're just speculating here because we haven't actually talked to the jurors, but they were able to come up with.
Yeah, she's a female. Yes, she is a female. To my knowledge.
Some kind of consensus through this. And what to keep in mind is that they acquitted on the assault charge that's related to the finger. So again, it would be great if any of those find 6 people with one.
Guys, Megan, to my knowledge, is a woman. You know, just yeah.
Want to talk about, what they went through the last few days and what they did. But just the rhetoric online from all the people online who, first of all, when they hadn't reached a verdict yet, people were just talking about what morons they are. And granted, this is like kind of typical internet discussion that goes on, but I just worry it's really going to deter any of the jurors from ever wanting to talk on.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to get flamed. They come on, they talk about this, they're going to get flamed here. You know, what I find interesting is the harassment charge. He got hit with the harassment charge. Yet when you look at the video, she's the one chasing him. I would argue that's harassment. It's mind blowing how no charges were brought up on her at all. You know what I mean? Like to think that this whole situation was just one-sided, that it was only him, is fucking absurd. There was clear display on her part of being harassing, leaving him alone. The man had to run away, yet she still chased him. You mean to tell me there's nothing wrong with that? It's mind-blowing because of New York and that super liberal, far, far left, bro. You know what I'm saying? Far, far left shit that they didn't have it in them to run charges on a woman. That's crazy work.
Line or to talk about the reasoning on this, but
Angel, what's up?
So jurors in the courtroom. So and he's able to
somebody fill in Angel, please.
See this all in the courtroom. And that's how it usually works in California courts.
Why was she in the closet? Don't you find that weird? Yeah, I don't know, Greens. We didn't get there yet. We'll take a look.
So though sometimes it just depends on the judge, but they were able to. The reporters were in the courtroom when the court reporter did the read back, and the jurors watched the video. And so then there's a break, lunch break until 2:15, and that's at 12:45. Remember, I'm on West Coast time. And then so the jury came back after lunch. I mean, I my guess is the lunch is somehow mandated from the court. Like the court wants his staff to have a break, and they all need to go get a sandwich or something. But it looks like the jury might have been ready pretty fast after getting the answers to their questions. Like they didn't need to go to lunch. They could have just come back with the verdict because it says 12:25. They get a note saying that we, the jury, have reached a verdict. And that's 10 minutes after they were supposed to be back. Granted, not being there, I don't know exactly what time the jury came back. I mean, court time is always like give or take a few minutes, sometimes at least, but looks like they reached it really fast. But and then this is, of course, kind of the confusing thing because look, I'm not there, and I would have preferred to actually do my own reporting on this in the courtroom. But I'm in California, and it's Christmas time and everything. But convicts on 2 domestic assault charges, and I think a better way to phrase that would have been domestic abuse charges, because I mean I retweeted that and said 2 assault charges, basically just repeated what it was, but it's not. It was a little more. It wasn't. It was only 1 assault charge, as I went back and corrected. And I did see some people, saying in the comments to me that I should delete the tweet. I would have edited it if I could, but because it's threaded, actually, once you thread something, you can't go back and edit the tweets. But I did have like an Instagram post that I deleted, but I agree with the people who say that the mechanism for correcting this stuff is doing it through the thread. And also in my defense, I mean, come on, I was just repeating and harassing his girlfriend.
Jonathan Majors found guilty. Okay, here's a statement from Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. Okay. At the Manhattan DA's office, we are committed to centering survivors in all of our work. The evidence presented throughout this trial illustrated psychological and emotional abuse and escalating patterns of coercion far too common among the many intimate partner IPV cases we see each and every day. Today, a jury determined that pattern of abuse and coercion culminated in Mr. Majors assaulting and harassing his girlfriend. Oh my God. We thank the jury for its service, survivor, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God.
We thank the jury for its service and the survivor for bravely telling her story, despite having to relive her trauma on the stand. The one thing this
was criminal. This was an actual criminal, y'all. So who's to say now she could run up civil charges? More than likely she will.
The sentence about what the jury determined. Today, a jury determined that pattern of abuse and coercion culminated with, I don't think that's actually what the jury verdict was. They determined that he assaulted and harassed his girlfriend. But I think if you ask the jurors about their verdict, I mean, they would even say that the jury instructions said nothing about, I don't know. I mean, there wasn't anything in the charging documents about how, has there been a pattern of abuse? Obviously that was found here. But the fact that he was acquitted on 2 of the charges kind of shows that it was a little more complicated. But again, it'd be great if we could like actually hear from the jurors on this. I'm sure some people are already trying to get them. I mean, this got so much coverage. Main surveillance video. This is the 33-minute video, and it starts with them leaving his penthouse. And I mean, she'd been living there too with him for a long time.
By the way, y'all, it's crazy that we live in a time now where they literally tracked them through cameras everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like from the elevator out into the streets, down the block. Like there's cameras. We live in a Big Brother state. There's cameras everywhere. You know what I mean? That alone, I don't even know how crime still exists because there's just so many cameras everywhere.
So, yeah, thank you, Lily Sweet. Yeah, I should be able to take some time here, especially now that this is over. I'm not really sure there's actually
like China.
Like,
you know what? Actually, if I remember correctly, the UK is the most egregious country in the world when it comes to surveillance of their citizens. They have cameras. They have an entire hub where all of these video feeds are pulled into. They got everyone under surveillance. It's wild work, bro. I would never live in an environment like that. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, that's crazy. I guess it's illegal for women to cry over a man and it's called emotional abuse. Like this makes no sense. There's a lot of these don't make no sense right now. Big Brother always watching. True. Were the members of the jury disclosed? No, they won't disclose it. It's only on the juror members if they want to make themselves known to the public. But there's gonna be so much blowback if they do. That the best thing they should do is not say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Carlos, what's up, bro? She finna sneeze.
Anything going on next week? Oops. But and I mean, sometimes it's and I can see why a lot of news organizations just don't put this stuff online because you want to get readers to the point of it, which is obviously the SUV altercation. But for prosecutors, it's just important to put this all together because it just shows everything that happened. You know, it shows their demeanor throughout the whole night, before and after, kind of thing.
Look at the gentleman, lets her go. Okay, all right, Jonathan. How did this thing turn so far left, though? Probably maybe alcohol.
New York City, the Big Apple, makes me want to go there. So I kept thinking, I've actually only been to New York City twice in my life, guys.
One thing I want to say, this reminds me, because, I mean, the way they're exiting, they look like it's normal. He lets her walk through the door like a gentleman, opens the door for her and to get in. I will tell you one thing, fellas. Never, ever have sex with a woman when either of you has had any kind of alcohol or drug consumption. I know that shit sounds fun to do. Did it back in the day, you know what I'm saying? And all that wild nights of drinking and sex and all that stuff. But gone are the days where you can get away with that because all it takes is for one accusation. If she's had a couple of drinks, she had a little glass of wine, it's all it takes for there to be a claim made that you took advantage of them. Or if you've been drinking, you know what I'm saying? If you are going to have intercourse with a woman in 2023 and beyond, you better be sober, fellas. You better make sure that she's sober. If I know a woman's had something to drink, I don't care if she took a little shot. No sex. We are not fucking that night. We will wait until a day where you are sober so that you have all of your senses together so that you can fully consent to taking this dick. Other than that, I will tell you fellas, do not have sex when alcohol has been consumed by you or the woman. Period. Okay? I'm giving you game to save yourself and your life. Just don't do it. Don't. And the only exception is if it's like your wife, your long-term partner. If it's a one-off, a fling, recently dating, you're playing the field, don't do it with them. Don't do it with them, okay? Carlos, day was good, bro. Be sober and get a written consent. Yo, I'm going to make one up. I'm going to make a sex contract. You know, Dave Chappelle did it back on the Chappelle Show, and it was funny. If you watch Chappelle's show right now in 2023, going into 2024, almost everything that he made skits about has fucking come into fruition, bro. the sex contract. Oh God, there were other ones that I'm going blank on. But there was a sex contract. There was so many other things revolving around a lot of topics and things that we're dealing with now that he was joking on back then. It's almost like he prophesized it. It's crazy. But the reality is like, yo, we may actually have to have sex contracts. It might be one of the only ways to protect yourself. You get with someone, you get the paperwork, and you have a whole bunch of boxes with all the various sexual acts, and you check mark the one that you are willing to do. They check mark the other ones. You sign both names at the bottom and acknowledging that you are on this date and at this time we are both sober and willing participants in the above listed sexual acts. And that might be the only way to get yourself out of a jam. Oh, some of the other things were the R. Kelly thing. Remember when he getting on the stand with R. Kelly? I wouldn't believe it unless he had 2 forms of ID, his grandmama there, and that whole skit was funny as hell too. The racial draft, yes, thank you. There was there was so many other skits that were like, bro, how did you know that this was going to be our future? You know what I mean? It's crazy. You just gave me an idea, Moon. I need 30%, bro. I need 30%. By the way, I got to get with Rican. I want to make Rick. I need your help with a spreadsheet formula. I want to create some. I will talk about it offline because I'm going to give away the thing.
That, but I was thinking, I was like, man, if I did somehow end up going to Manhattan to cover this trial, the idea of being in New York City for only the 3rd time in my life around Christmas time and just spending the whole time stuck in a courtroom sounds kind of off. Drinks and
I mean, look at them. They got them on camera at the restaurant, bro. You couldn't even really move without everybody knowing your movements. All right.
Courtroom for that. I've read some of the stories about her testimony, but I don't have the exact on that. But yeah, I mean, she was on the stand for, what was it, like 3.5 days, 4 days. So I'm sure she was asked about that. I don't know what her.
Look, she's grabbing on him. How does that not some kind of a charge? Oh my God. I hate this world we live in, man.
Response was to it. One thing I was thinking about doing, I mean, there's just so much interest in this trial. I mean, I was hearing about it during the Tory Lane, well, not during the Tory Lanez case because it hadn't happened yet, but the second it happened in March, I was getting questions like, oh, here's one for you to cover. Here's one for you to cover. I mean, there's just so much interest in it.
Here's the thing, and we'll wrap it up on this one. The interest in it is that you have, at the time, the biggest Hollywood star, one of the sexiest men alive, right? He was all over the place. He was going to have the entire MCU next couple of phases built around him as Kang. This man was at the peak of the mountaintop in Hollywood, and it all came crumbling down with this. And what's even more wilder about it is that as we sit here and watch this video repeatedly, as he tries to put her in the car to get away, she doesn't. She hops out. He walks. She's on him. Then he has to break free from her, and she still runs after him and clings onto him. And for him to get hit with some charges and she gets hit with nothing, the interest is in that people are tired of seeing like these double standards and things not being equally held. The truth is that abuse can happen on both sides, and the vast majority of the times, abuse against men don't get reported because men are just like, all right, she smacked me in the face, whatever, I'm gonna shake it off. But if it was a guy did it, she's running straight to the cops and you going to jail. Men eat a lot of shit. Let's keep it a buck. And if they were to go before and report this stuff, it gets laughed off of. You might get ridiculed. Social media gonna be like, damn, bro. Imagine if the petite white girlfriend of Jonathan Majors hits him. Everyone looks at Jonathan Majors like, bro, you swole. You're gonna go report her. They're gonna clown him. Like, it's unfortunate that as men, that's where we're at, because in a lot of ways we are our own worst enemies in this regard, because men will clown other men that decide to be like, yo, you know what? I'm not gonna take this. You slapped me. I'm gonna hold you to the same standard that if I slapped you. So I'm gonna go report this shit. You're gonna have to go to jail or go to trial or whatever. But if men do this, other men clown them for this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think this was a bad call. Again, it's really unfortunate. The real kind of question that's in my mind now is what happens with Jonathan Majors. Disney cut him off already. You know, I think in the current climate, you know, think about Robert Downey Jr. He had an incredible arc, right? For a while there, for those of you that might not know this, right, might be younger, but there was a period in Robert Downey Jr.'s career, because I know a lot of y'all know him from Iron Man and he was on top of the world. But long before that, yo, like Robert Downey Jr. was down bad. He had a bad drug problem. He was kind of like the black sheep of Hollywood. So his arc is incredible. How he turned himself into Tony Stark and became iconic with Iron Man, because he was in a very bad spot. And some of the OGs, older folks might know this already. I say that to say, though, his issue stems from drug problems. In our current social climate, it almost seems like it would have been better if he had drug-related charges brought up on him, like he was ODing or was even distributing some drugs, because being charged for an assault and on a woman in our climate right now, it's almost like a death wish, man. I don't know that he bounces back anytime soon, if ever, from this. It quite honestly just really shot him down, and I'd be really shocked to see. I'm not saying it's impossible to do. I just think that it's going to take a long time, and certainly to at least resume big blockbuster movies. He might have to do a lot of YouTube movies and like straight to streaming services that we've never heard of before, because they ain't going on Netflix. You know what I mean? That's kind of my final thoughts on this, man. If you guys want